Welcome back, guys. It's Alex here from Shop Before Podcast. Thanks again for joining me. This next episode is going to focus on the shallow mind. I believe most people choose to only see the good qualities in others and ignore the negatives purely because if they delve too deep into a person's personality, they might find things they don't like, and then they'll have to question their own morals for associating with that person. And at the same time, a lot of these people do that because they want to keep things simple and positive in their opinion by focusing only on the positives. But the truth of the matter is, if you ignore someone's negatives, not just small levels of negative behavior, but just big portions of it where their negative behavior goes against your own morals, it starts to highlight the type of person you are, that you yourself have compromised values by ignoring someone else's negatives. It is a positive thing to look at positive people's attitudes, but at the same time, you should not ignore the things that your views go against. By doing this, it sort of then highlights the person you are, that you would rather only see the positives and sort of shut your mind to the negatives that you see. Now, this isn't the right way to handle things because eventually you're going to feel like you're compromising your values. Eventually you're going to feel like you've got to shut your mind or shut your mouth when they say something that you disagree with. And you'll find that this will build up and get to a point where you've sort of lost yourself, lost your values, and you'll start feeling there's no point having an opinion because you don't voice it. It's healthy to have a conversation with people. You're not always going to agree with things they say. I think it's nearly impossible to find someone that you 100% agree with. There's going to be some parts of their thought process that you just don't click with. That's normal. It's fair that there are going to be points that you don't feel comfortable with. But the whole point of friendships and good relationships are to be able to communicate with people and to be able to talk to them respectfully. You can have a difference of opinion without having to chop someone's head off. You can just be polite and courteous by pointing out why you think the way you do. If they're going to jump up and down and yell and frustrations and get angry at you, it's just an example of lack of maturity. Maturity is something that takes a while for you to grasp the kind of person you want to be, the kind of person that grows and develops and learns to maintain, keep yourself in a good mindset where you're not going to let loose and let yourself out of control purely because of an emotional state you might be feeling. So if you want a healthy mind and you need to be able to express yourself and communicate with people, there is ways of communicating without having to be aggressive with someone. And if someone has to walk away from a conversation, it's more than likely that they themselves don't have a real argument. And they just probably are more focused on why you have to almost interrogate them, or the way they see it, just with questions, and they would rather you trust in them rather than actually explain why they feel the way they do. And that's partly because they're not deep people who don't want to question the things that they might believe in, because then it will go against everything they've been thinking through the years. So if you're someone who can't question your own values, it says something that there's a fear in you that you might discover that you're not happy with the person you are. I say that if you're someone who thinks something, you should be able to stand by your word. If you've got a characteristic that's not always good, at least own it. Be that person, whether it's stubbornness or whether it's you have a short fuse. If that's who you are, then be that person. But at the same time, if you want to be a person that doesn't fly off the handle and has control, strive to be that person, because it's not easy to maintain your 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 views if you can't think about what's been said. So you need to delve deep in the type of person you are. You need to work out what the steps you need to take to become that person. If you're just going to think everything is easy and just and the moment it's not, just get angry, you'll find that you'll never develop. You'll find that you're never going to achieve anything that's solid, because a challenge in your life is to become a better version of yourself, and by doing that, you need to delve deep in the type of person you want to be and what you're not doing right. Not everyone can see the path to that, purely because they're distracted constantly with things in their life. But if you're someone who can't have a conversation without getting angry, it's got to say something about why you have to push yourself to get angry rather than just talk things out. If you want people to respect you, you should be able to respect their opinion. And by listening to why they think that way they think, maybe it's something you haven't taken consideration, because growth is a matter of listening and to people and seeing if maybe you've got it wrong yourself. By more opinions being said, you can probably come to more of a three-dimensional view of why they think the way they do. But if you're someone who's just going to keep things on a superficial level, you can't expect to have a great bond with someone if all you're going to be talking about is the weather and the movie you saw on the weekend. If you can't talk about those personal details and break down the barriers that stopped you from saying your opinion, you're not really having any true friendships with people. You're not really having a true friendship with yourself, because to be honorable to yourself, you need to be yourself and say what you think, and have a conversation with someone to say, this is the person you stand for, this is the person that you want to be, and these are your views. So I would say being a superficial person and not looking too deep into things, as they say, ignorance is bliss, but is that the person you want? Or would you rather be the person who's knowledgeable and comfortable and confident in what you're saying, enough to not get angry and to talk things through? Because if you want to keep things on a superficial level, it's a fairly easy thing. You just shut your mouth and just nod and never have an opinion and lose your power of word, being able to say what you feel. Or you can be someone who might have confrontations on your conversation because you've got a difference of opinion. And if you find yourself always clashing with people that you don't on your opinion, maybe the best thing is to spend time with people a bit more like-minded. If you can't have a healthy conversation with someone, the best thing you could possibly do is stay away from that person and let them be in their own element, and maybe find yourself people who are willing to have a conversation, people who are willing to have a deep connection with people who are willing to talk about even their prejudices, and that way you can maybe become a deeper and more understanding person of different personalities, rather than ignoring that there's issues there and just pretending everything's perfectly fine. So if you yourself want to be honourable, you should be able to talk about everything that's on your mind. And if you want that kind of relationship with people, then you only will get that if you open up and say what you think. So you either be a person who says nothing and just nods and pretends that you're happy, or you'll be yourself and say what you think in a respectful manner, and you'll be confident with knowing that you stand by your word. So I personally would rather be the person who says what I feel, and would want only people around me who will be open and say what they think, and rather than just agreeing with me just purely just to have a conversation with me. If someone disagrees, I'm willing to listen to what they say, and if it's something that I haven't considered, I would use that experience as a way of growing. Otherwise, if I disagree with something they think, I might agree with the majority of what they say, and it's certain things I might not. And if that's the case, then let that be. But that's all. I personally believe it's better to be open. And that's all I have to say on this episode. So thanks again for joining me, and hope you join me on the next episode, and see where we are then. Thank you. Bye.